So I loaded my robot model, which is a robot with a armature structure and inverse kinematics. It has a short animation that I can play, and I use inverse kinematics to make the movement easier. We can deal on how to make this in another tutorial, but it just gives you an idea what we've done. Looking at the top, so my looking glass display is connected, and now we'll get to the next point, which is the 48 views. And if I pull this down, you see that I have the 2K and the 4K guild, but we are using the portrait, so we have the option to generate 48 views all the way up to 108 views. What this means is the looking glass device needs different images to generate the holographic view. And let me just pull up on the screen what I mean. This being a single image that the portrait needs to generate the holographic device. It's divided in columns and rows, and in this case I have 8 columns and 6 rows. So each image, the still image that I have, generates 48, so 6 times 8 views. So especially when you render out a full animation, like 150 frames or even more, you get a lot of images. And we can also calculate the resolution. So let me just get this out of the way. Go to Blender, go to the tab here which says Output Properties, and you see that the resolution in the X and the Y direction is 420 times 560. Just let me get my calculator here. So if I have 420 pixels in the X direction and I multiply this by 8 because I have 8 columns, I get a resolution of 3360 pixels. If I do the same in the Y direction, I have 560 pixels times 6 rows. I have 3360 pixels again. So each still image has 3360 times 3360 images, and this is quite large. But then you at least know what the resolution is. For 108 views, you get much more resolution and much more images. And at this point, I have not seen a lot of quality improvement over 108 views, but I rendered out both of them and I can show to you right now. Now looking at the robot, you see that the object I want to see is included in the field of view, and I included also a background. So my clip start, my clip end and my focal point are all set. That's all nice and dandy. Then I go down here, I have it on manual mode and I have no preview because I'm looking at the different view, but this should be at let me see, low resolution preview. It's a gray image, which we may not like. We would like the colors. And to do that, go to the top tab in Render, it says Render Properties. Make sure your render engine is at Eevee, not at Cycles, but at Eevee. Then go to the top and change to Viewport Shading, and bam, there you are. Everything is in color. And if you click now on the refresh mode and have your low resolution preview or the other ones turned on, you'll see your fully colored model on your display. So it also has the option custom, and that allows you to generate different views like a wireframe mode. Let me just pull that up on the screen for a second. So with that option enabled, you get a wireframe. I don't find that to be particularly useful, but maybe for larger files that could be of interest. But with everything in place and your animation ready to go, you can render out a single image consisting of the 48 individual images, or you can render out the full animation. For the animation, I find it to be particularly useful to divide it up into segments of 50 or maximum 75 frames. I find that when I render out the full image of 150 frames or more, the software slows down and never seems to be able to complete its task in a timely manner. I would suggest to break it up and do it 4 or 5 times to get the full animation. Another thing which is recommended is when you go over to the Blender tab on the output properties, at the output section, you can select directly the MPEG files and the movie files. I recommend to use PNG, save them as individual images and later combine them into one animation. And the reason is if something happens during the render, you will lose all the work in progress. But with the PNGs, every PNG rendered out is saved on your hard drive and that's still there. And then you can start from that point on to finish the complete render. In our case, let's do exactly that. We start at frame 1. Let's stop at frame 50. So I have over 50 frames right here. And I render my animation Quilt. And there you go. And now it starts doing all the different images. As you can see, it's rendering out. And it says frame 1 and it will continue to go to frame 48 for the first frame here. And it will do that 50 times. I'll be back when it's completed. We rendered out all the images. The next thing we want to do is combine all these images into a single animation. For this reason, I started up Blender because that's what we'll be using to generate the animation. But just to give you an idea of what we will be creating, and let me just pop this up onto the screen. And there you go. This is the single animation, 150 frames, consisting of the 48 views. The Looking Glass portrait device combines all these different images into a single one, and that generates one animation. But because of the different views, so the 48 views, it creates a holographic display. So that's how it works. There is more technical details behind it, but this is basically combining all the images to generate a field of depth or a depth view. Let me just get this out of the way. We are in Blender right now, so let's get rid of this splash screen. And what we want to do is we want to go to the plus sign up here, and I can zoom in a little bit. It says add a workspace, click on the plus sign, go to video editing, and then choose the option video editing. And let me just zoom out again to give you an idea what it looks like. There you go. This is the video editing screen right here. We want to add the images, but before we do, I like to change the resolution to the resolution of the images I will be importing. If you do not know it, then I recommend you go to like an Explorer, go to all your images, and you see here, all my images are here. Right click, go to properties, then go to details, and you see that each of these images is 3360 pixels in both directions. Also, each of these files, images, is 10 MB, so I got 150 MB, so that's quite a bit. So knowing that we have 3360 pixels for each file, I'm going to change this to 3360 by 3360. And there we go. So I changed all this. Then I go down here, go to add, go to image sequence, and find the directory where your images are stored. Mine are here. They're all here. You see a whole bunch of them. Select one and press A. Now I got them all selected. And you see here that the fit method on the right hand side is set scale to fit. And because I changed the resolution already, it's gonna match up perfectly. There is different options here. You can scale to fill and scale to stretch to fill. I never use those. I would recommend fill in the resolution and use scale to fit. If that is done, click on Add Image Strip. There you go. And you see your image strip right here on the bottom. What you see is that's not really matching up with the sequence of the animation. We can change that in a second. So let's move to the right hand side again and just let me pop up here. So we can see that the resolution is changed already. The aspect ratio I leave for the moment. The frame rate is the speed of the animation. I leave it for the moment at 24 frames per second, but if you like, you can change them, slow it down or speed it up. But I'll leave it at 24 frames, that seems to work fine. The frame rate here, it says 250 at the end. I'll change it to 150. There you go. And if I zoom out again, you see now it matches up perfectly because I have 150 individual images. Zooming back in again. There you go. What you then want to do is set your output file correctly. So go here and change it to whatever specification or directory you like. And then change the file format to MPEG, because now we want to create a video. And you go to encoding. Don't choose my Tosca in this case, choose the MPEG 4. Video codec, leave it like it is. And choose high quality. With the animation completed, we now want to upload it to the portrait device. We will need the Holoplay Studio software, which I opened up already. You see there's a bunch of files on the device already, but we want to upload our own. So we're gonna need the tab here says Add Hologram. Now we're gonna locate the file, and I have it stored here, which is the 8x6 MP4. I just select it, hold down the mouse button and drag it all the way over to Add Hologram. Now it's gonna ask me which type of file it is, and we created the Quilt photo and video. Pressing OK, and there we go. We now just need to specify the columns and rows as it needs it for displaying purposes. Doing this incorrectly will give you a blurry or multiple images. So we have the 8. Let me press 8x6. I'm using the device aspect ratio, which is 0.75. And we're all set up. The only thing I have to do is sync playlist. I can press the play button just to see it play on the Looking Glass device, see everything works perfectly. Just pressing sync play, and there we go. Just a quick update on the Holoplay Studio. I uploaded the 2 animations to my portrait device, but I found the animations to be double images or multiple images. And let me just pop this up onto the screen for a second. So this is what the animation looked like. And even though I had the columns and rows specified correctly for this upload, the problem was still there after multiple tries. And it seems, let me just get this out of the way, the Holoplay Studio was not able to delete my files correctly. So normally you would go to the file you don't want to, or you want to upload again, and you can press delete here and then it should be removed. But for some reason it didn't work correctly. If that happens, I recommend you hook up your device, if not done so already. Open up your Explorer, go to the portrait device, which I show right here. Go to the animation that provides you the problem or gives you the problem and delete them by hand. And then start the procedure again on the Holoplay Studio. That worked for me in this case. So if you encounter the same problem by using the Holoplay Studio, go to Explorer, delete the files and do it again. Once we uploaded the MP4 file onto the device, we can have it run on it in standalone modus, and we can scroll through the different animation and images on the device and give beautiful holographic presentations. Now we can export any model and animation we like onto the portrait device. That's it from my side. Thanks so much for watching, guys.